now making eye contact here. Welcome to the show, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first time, this show is completely candid. It's not just the name, it's the way I run the show. I do not prepare questions of any sort. I'm not here to write scripts. I'm not sending things out to the guests to look up ahead of time or prepare themselves. If they bring notes, that's their own thing. My guest for this episode did bring some notes because he is talking about some things that science is really and health, and you need to be factual on that so that way you're not misleading folks. However, he puts the disclaimer right there at the beginning, right? These are beliefs of his own, and he has done his own research and researching experts. So please do your own research with everything, not just this topic today, everything. Be informed, right? Question, the things that you hear, because you never know who's just making stuff up to make a quick buck. And that's also one of the things we talk about. My guest today is a health and wellness educator, specifically specializing in the use of CBD. If you aren't familiar, great. That's why we're doing this episode, is so that you learn about CBD, the differences between that and THC and how they work together, and how it's not just a way for people to use marijuana to get high, but actually use that instead to feel better and improve the quality of their life, right? If you're like, what do you mean? I thought this or that, listen to the episode. That's what we're here for. So without further ado, please go ahead and welcome the ever so excellent Joshua Barton. Awesome. Boom. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself, sir.
All right. My name is Joshua Barton, and thanks for having me on the show.
Yes. I know just because of our topic today, you have a little disclaimer, so please let the people know what they need to know.
Absolutely. So I do study CBD and certain things with plant medicine, but I do want to make sure that everybody knows that this is all based on my own opinion. Everything that I've read is through experts, but everything that I am saying is through my own opinion. So please do your own research.
Yes. Much like Bitcoin and the stock market, do your own research, exactly. Figure it out. But if you do enough, I think there's enough supporting evidence
exactly.
on the internet. Everything you know is on the internet, folks. Just don't trust everything that you see in a nice, well-formatted video or a quote next to a famous person. That's not how that works. Make sure it's not just from your Facebook.
Yeah, those quotes next to famous people.
Yes. Yeah. I love those. And they switch it up. It'll be like Gandhi, who's just like, there is no try. Like, dude, there is no try. Yeah. Well, I just mixing it up. All right, folks. We're already being silly here. Okay, sir. So we are today talking about CBD. But before we dive in, I want people and myself to kind of get to know you a little bit more. And basically, I just wanted to see, who are you? Where did you grow up? And where are you now? How did you get to be where you are right now?
Okay. So like I said, my name is Joshua. I am 30 years old. I was born in Eugene, Oregon, and lived there for about 5 years before I moved to Arizona. And I lived in Arizona until I was about, I think I turned 18 here, and then I moved back to Oregon for a couple of years. Then from Oregon, I ended up joining the military and went to North Carolina for a while. Then I came back to Arizona. I went back to Oregon. I've kind of bounced around quite a bit, to be honest with you. So it's I'm used to moving a lot.
Are you chasing seasons? Like, you're going hot and then you're going cold? Like, is that what's happening here?
No. When I was in the military, I was actually in the reserves, and so the first year of it, I went from California to North Carolina for roughly, I think it was like 4 months in California, and then I spent about 6 months in North Carolina. And then when I moved back to Oregon, That was where my duty station was, but there was a couple times here and there that I was trying to relocate and trying to activate so that I can go overseas. And I mean, I have a completely different opinion from when I was in the military, but yeah, something did not want me overseas, and so it was just kind of I'm thankful for it now. But yeah, at that point in time, man, I was trying to do everything I could to make certain things happen, but
Hey, life pushes us a certain way, you know?
Yeah, and I'm very thankful that I did.
Yeah, it ends up being the way we're supposed to go more often than not. So, yeah, man. So what happened after that?
So after I got out of the military, I want to say I moved back to Arizona probably about a year or so after I got out of the military. And I ended up working for my father for a little bit of time. My father owns his own company. It's a general contractor, does wallpaper for high-end residential, and who's done Charles Barkley's house, Dustin Pedroia.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, he's well known in the wallpaper industry, and so I worked with him for a while. Did a couple Cardinals players' houses.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I got to meet a couple people, but after that, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of working with paste. So being sticky is not my favorite thing.
No way. Totally understandable.
Yeah, so working with wallpaper was just kind of not my favorite thing to do. And then, so kind of to bring everything together, I want to say, since I was born in Eugene, Oregon, you know, having the hippie roots in my heart, naturally, I started smoking weed at about, I want to say 16 years old, maybe right around 16 years old. And so I've always kind of been a believer in what that can do because, you know, going through a couple spurts in my life where I was dealing with a little bit of sadness. I wouldn't necessarily say I was depressed by any means, because I think the majority of the time I've had a pretty good handle of, you know, certain situations. And I've been very blessed to have certain people in my life to kind of help talk me through certain things and help me realize certain things. So
that's
it's been
awesome.
Always, yeah.
Awesome that you recognize that as well.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, no, I definitely don't feel like I had depression. So it was just, you know, the moments of sadness. And so being able to get out of those moments as quickly as possible is always a good thing. But so, you know, my whole family, outside of a couple people, were really against that plant in particular. So,
yeah.
So, you know, from the age of 16 or roughly right around 16 to just a couple of years ago, you know, they didn't want anything to do with that plant. So it was a very kind of taboo thought when I was like, you know, my dad was telling me that he's hurting and he's like, you know, nothing's working anymore. And so I happened to pick up some CBD, and I just was like, hey man, you should try this. And little did I know, you know, just what I know now about CBD, I am so surprised that worked. It was like his body was so depleted of CBD. It's just like I was just really shocked when I think back at the situation. It's just It's really nice knowing that that got them kind of sparked a little bit on the CBD train.
Right.
So
let's take a second real quick. Like I said, even though CBD is taking off and getting a little bit more popular these days, let's just make that split here, right? These both THC and CBD derive from marijuana, correct?
Yes.
So
yeah, and hemp.
Hemp, yes, I love hemp. It's I think I did a report on hemp and the origins of it and how crazy this whole like blocking marijuana has been, especially in the United States. It's honestly like it's a power plant. It's so crazy what it can do.
Absolutely.
However, you as the educator, please, if you can differentiate between THC and CBD, where they come from and what they do for the consumer.
Okay. So what we have is we have cannabis, and that's what most people know. That's weed. Excuse me. And that is what people use the majority of. That's kind of what this whole the initial start of this movement was. Obviously everybody wants the medicinal value of it. Like that's the main purpose of it. But I think what happened is, we grew up in a generation where they're starting to be a little bit more open-minded about certain things. And so it's like everybody was it was almost like the 60s again. So it was, everybody's starting to do this. And so I think a lot of it stemmed from, just people wanting to smoke. And don't get me wrong, like I have nothing against that. Like I still do smoke. I do enjoy it. I think eventually I am going to quit. I see more benefit in the CBD portion of the plant than smoking nowadays. But it's just, it's still enjoyable at times. But
it's
so
it's recreational, good time. Yeah.
Exactly. But so hemp it could actually be considered weed as well. So hemp is just anything that has less than 0.3 THC. So that's kind of actually how I started looking into it after, I gave that product that I was talking about to my dad, and it was just this rub. And that was actually just a CBD oil rub. And so it was so far from what I'm looking into now, but
and was your dad having any sort of like aches or pains? Like, was there or did he have an injury?
Yeah. So like I said, I come from prior to being on video, I come from a fairly large family. So the majority of the people in my family are pretty heavily overweight, and so just the natural wear and tear of moving weight around your entire life is difficult. Plus, my dad's been in the wallpaper industry for 35, 40 years. So constantly going up and down ladders, up and down on his knees, just, he has a lot of, just kind of wear and tear on his body. So he pretty much lived on Advil. So, or is it Advil or ibuprofen, something like that. I can't remember which one it was, but he would take like 10 of them a day. Like, it is just so bad. Like, you take one of those things, it thins your blood out for an entire week. Like, any kind of those ibuprofen, Advil things are just so bad for the body. And my dad was just taking them like candy. So it was, I did not want to see that continue. And so, I gave him this CBD rub, and he tried it out and said it worked, and he was really curious about it. And at that point in time, I didn't really know much about it, but it kind of sparked my interest a little bit. So I started learning a little bit about it, and life got busy, so I stopped looking into it. But the universe wanted me to keep looking into it because it landed in my lap again, 5 to 6 months later, whatever it was. And this time it was something completely different. And it's just what we know about CBD, or what we have known about CBD, unfortunately, is just there's a lot of gimmicks by these marketing companies. And so, like, if people aren't really on their toes, they're going to be fooled. And it's really easy to be fooled, because, to be honest with you, I was fooled for a little bit of time. And like, one of the biggest examples I'll use is when you see a CBD company, CBD oil company out there saying that they have a water soluble CBD oil. And it's like, that's not possible. Water solubility means it's compatible. It mixes together with no problem at all. And then, when you have an oil, what oil does when you put it in water. And so, and when people read this, they're like, oh, sweet, this is a new thing. And so they pick it up and they're like, sweet, I got a water soluble CBD. And like, I've talked to so many people, and it's unfortunate because it's like, people don't know what they don't know until they know. And unfortunately, people don't like to be told that what they know is wrong. And that's the problem that I run into a lot, is because, I am one of those individuals. I cannot stand to be told that I am wrong. I love to read. So it's like, when somebody knows more about certain topics than I do, especially ones that I'm passionate about, it gets under my skin a little bit, but I absolutely love to,
no worries.
I like to learn. It's nice. It's like my uncle, he is, a huge part of, kind of who I am today. But he had this thing that he would do. He plays devil's advocate with literally anything when I was
I
younger.
love that. I love that.
Oh man, I do too now. But at that point in time, like I was so stubborn. I was so stubborn with everything that I thought. And, he would take the opposite side on things. I'm like, I know you don't believe that. Why are you doing this?
Just let me have the win, man.
Exactly.
Come on.
Yeah. And so it's just, I'm really thankful that he did that, because it really did open my eyes to a lot of things. And that's just, oops, sorry.
No worries.
There we go. All right, cool. But yeah, I think I was going on with, there's so much just false information on the through the CBD industry, and a lot of it is the CBD industry pumping out that information. And it's just like, one of the individuals that works with the company that I am with, he's kind of like our head spokesman, and he went to a couple of different meetings down here in the Valley, or here in Phoenix. Sorry, I know you're in California, but he went out to a couple different meetings, and he showed them what we did, and they straight up said to his face, "We don't care. We're just in it for the money." And it's like, how can you know that? Oh, here's the thing. Okay, so with CBD oil, your body can't absorb an oil. It has to break it down. The liver has to break it down. So when you put oil under your tongue, that's just a gimmick. People are literally just putting it under there because they told them to do it. They could have literally told them to put it under their armpit or something, and people would do it thinking that it's going to absorb into their body. And it's that's not what it does. Your liver has to break it down, so you have to digest this stuff, and your body can only absorb 5 to 10% of this oil. So when these people that are spending $200 on a really fancy bottle, I've seen even upwards to $400 for a bottle of CBD oil, and these are just
crazy. Wow.
It started out at 20 milligrams, then it got up to 100 milligrams, and then they slowly started building, and they got up to I think the highest I've seen is 4,500 milligrams, and then you get into the nanograms, and it's just or nanoparticles, and it's just it's crazy, all these marketing tactics, but your body can only absorb 5 to 10% of a CBD oil. Or at absolute most, if it's so high quality, I'm talking high quality oil, your body can absorb about 15 to 20% of it. But it's an oil. So yeah, your body is made mostly of water. So trying to get it to absorb this oil is pretty much impossible. So when your body can only absorb sorry about that.
No,
I don't know if you heard that, but okay. But yeah, so if your body can only absorb roughly 5 to 10% of this oil, and your bottle costs $200 because someone told you that that's a really good bottle of CBD, right, your body is automatically discarding $180 to $190 of that $200 spent, no matter what.
That's crazy.
So, and this is stuff that people can look up. Like I'm saying, don't believe anything I say. You look everything up. So,
and that was actually one of my main concerns, as I've seen, and still is, with the rise of CBD. I'm there's going to be so many opportunists that are in the name of health are going to try and capitalize on people like myself who aren't completely aware. And so what are some of the things, say, for a consumer to look for when they are trying to purchase a CBD product? Are there any good indicators of this might be a good quality product for me?
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to be 100% honest, and I don't want this to sound biased because obviously I do work for this company, but I have been using marijuana and the products of that for roughly 15 years of my life. And I have never in my life seen anything like this before. The goal of what you try to do when you're using a plant is to keep it in its raw form. Because if you keep it in the raw form, you keep everything. You don't, all the enzymes that are with it, literally everything that is with the plant, you keep it. So the second, CBD oils, they use alcohol, butane, critical CO2. They use all these dirty methods to get this CBD out of the plant. But when you do that, you kill the plant. You are destroying the integrity of it. You want to keep everything intact, everything whole, and you want to keep it in its raw state. So when you do that, your body understands what plants are. They have no idea what a synthetic is. And that's essentially what an oil is, or what these CBD oils are. So this is like the biggest example I use because most people know what vitamin C is. So
Right.
this is essentially what a synthetic is. So when you see vitamin C, 9 times out of 10, if you look on the ingredients, it's going to say ascorbic acid next to it. Ascorbic acid is a fraction of what vitamin C is, but it's considered vitamin C because it's a synthetic version of it. It's a lab created version of it. And so unfortunately, it is still considered vitamin C, but what it does is your body doesn't recognize it. So your liver has to break it down. And once again, that's horrible for your liver. But once you break that down, your body's like, oh, I get this. I know what this is, but it's not complete. So it has to source from your hair, your skin, your nails, your organs, your bones, all over your body. So the unfortunate thing about synthetics is they work quick, but that for the long-term effect is they're not good for the body. So it's like taking aspirin. So it's like, you take aspirin, a lot of times it works within like 45 minutes or half an hour. Now, if you're lucky, 20 minutes.
Right.
But what happens is like the prolonged use of that can actually cause cancer. So we are giving ourselves, moments of bliss for bad setups in 15, 20 years. I'm not saying, if you use ibuprofen or Tylenol, you're going to get cancer. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it has been known to cause it. So people who are using this on a regular basis, like just the whole thing of, taking one Advil or one Tylenol a day or at one time, it thins your blood out for a week. So imagine taking this every single day. Like you get into a car accident and you get caught in the wrong spot, you're done. Yeah. And so like we know about these things, like just like with Johnson & Johnson, this everybody knows what Johnson & Johnson is. The
baby powder, baby oil.
Exactly. Yeah, they got sued for baby powder. Like it was causing cancer. And it's like, this stuff doesn't reach the news.
The thing that you put
often
on young children.
Yeah. So it's like a lot of the stuff that we see or we know to use, it's not good for us. Like I'm sure you've heard of Monsanto before.
Rings a bell.
Okay, Monsanto is essentially, it is the GMO version of plants. So it's the synthetic version of what seeds are. So it's all lab created and it looks like it. It tastes similar to it, but it lacks all of the nutrients. So it's like, it gives you all the calories, but it gives you none of the nutrients to it. So, people, when they go out and they buy these synthetic or these GMO versions of these plants thinking, oh yeah, I ate a banana today, or I ate an orange today. Yeah, but you didn't. Like you're getting literally nothing from it. They did a study that our soil today is so depleted of its nutrients.
Yes, I've heard this.
Exactly. It's so crazy. If you eat one salad back in the 1940s, you'd have to eat approximately 20 salads today in order to get the same nutrients that you would have back then.
That's insane.
Like, as unfortunate it is, like even the people that look healthy, like we are all nutrient deficient.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's unfortunate, it's all about the dollar for a lot of these companies. So they're just stripping the land of everything that it possibly can give. So, and then spraying everything, but we won't get into that.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. I think, especially looking at 2020, the earth might be trying to make a little bit of a comeback and hitting the reset button a little bit and be like, hey, maybe with all the stuff going on, stuff you guys put in the air, might be time for me to just do it myself and help you guys out a little bit. Maybe that's what's happening. The earth is just kind of like, all right, I've had enough. Maybe it's just a really hard reset. Who knows?
Yes, indeed.
But yeah, oh man, that's insane to hear. I mean, one, just about like our typical products, and then applying that same thing to CBD, which does help people. From what I've seen, there's been amazing things, and both just for people who are sore and achy in general, to athletes, to people that have, anxiety and I think
Absolutely.
I've even seen some more extreme cases where it's just to help people with like rare conditions, and just it's amazing what it can do. Do you have any personal anecdotes or experiences to share with the products that you've used?
Absolutely. I'll kind of just go into a little bit prior to going into any of that. But
Yeah.
so our body, so everybody's, I'm sure, like, we went through, I want to say it was like 7th grade or 8th grade science. We learned about the nervous system, the circulatory system, the endocrine system, all these different systems in our body. And like the unfortunate thing is, we were never taught about the endocannabinoid system. And the endocannabinoid system, we've known about this for roughly 40 years. And it literally should be taught in every single medical school or every single medical textbook, should be taught in every single high school anatomy class. Like, this is so important, so crucial for the health of the human, that is ridiculous that it's still not taught. It's taught in 13% of the medical schools across the United States. And this is, we have known about its importance for roughly 40 years. So this thing, what it does is it literally puts our body and keeps it in homeostasis. It allows every system to communicate to each other. And if we don't have CBD on a daily basis, this isn't a gimmick. This is not one of those things where it's like, this guy's trying to sell medical marijuana or something. No, our body literally searches for CBD 24/7. And if we do not get it, then our body actually starts malfunctioning. That's why we live in such a sick generation. We have so many people with all these different diseases and so many different things that went wrong with our body. Don't get me wrong; some of it's genetics. I'm not discrediting any of that.
Right. Everyone has their disposition.
Absolutely, but the fact is, like, when we're born, everybody's born in a different part of the race, essentially. Close to the finish line than the rest. But it's like, depending on what is wrong with the body, if you don't have CBD, that malfunction can happen so quickly. So it's like, depending on what's wrong with the body, it is crazy. CBD is absolutely crucial for the human health. And what was I going to say with that? Oh man, yeah. Sorry, I do have ADHD, so a lot of times I am. When I start thinking of facts, I literally start jumping because last thing I said was
we're just talking about like predispositions and how like people,
Oh yeah. Okay. So the crazy thing is, so CBD, like, it literally, we have these receptors in our body that literally are searching for this stuff. So another bit of misinformation from the CBD industry is that CBD helps with pain, or CBD helps with you sleeping. And it's like, don't get me wrong, like, it helps with these things, but they're stating that it does this. What it is CBD is an adaptogen. Your body, because it literally needs this, so it will make it if you exercise. It makes it naturally in your lungs. But most people here in America, we live in a very sick place.
Yes.
Most people do not
sedentary,
exercise.
yeah.
Exactly. So the fact that we don't exercise, or we don't get it in our meat, because kind of like what you said, CBD has been, or this information has been kind of hidden or illegal for like roughly 70 years, back in I think it was like the 30s when they made it illegal.
It's been a lot longer than people realize.
Exactly.
It's social, it's political, financial. It hits in so many different facets of the way we live. And it would, now it's like disrupting a little bit. However, now that these pharmaceutical companies are opening up, they're trying to capitalize as well. But
absolutely,
for the longest time, from my personal, knowledge and the little bit of research I've done, it's, there's a social aspect, now political aspect. And again, when it comes to money, then that, money talks, and the people who are making a lot of money don't want to stop making a lot of money. So
exactly, they'll make sure it stays hidden.
Yeah, it's really,
it's crazy because it was illegal for a while, and then when World War II hit, they made it legal again because they needed the hemp. So they made it made all the clothing, and it's like they knew that they can use hemp, so they, through the war they kept it, and then all of a sudden when the war was over, they're like, it's illegal again.
And hemp is That's technically the fiber of the plant.
So hemp itself is considered anything less than 0.3 THC. What they have done, industrial hemp is like 95% of the stuff you see on the market. So industrial hemp is completely different than what hemp itself is. Industrial hemp is it's like a quarter of the cannabinoids, or maybe in like a fifth of the cannabinoids that hemp itself has. So like I said, hemp is anything less than 0.3 THC. So you can have a cannabis plant, something that is considered to be weed, just really, really, really high in CBD, really, really, really low in THC. So like it's not necessarily, you don't have to have hemp producing, or, I'm not saying the hemp cannabis part of it. You don't have to have the stems and the seeds of the hemp plant to get it. And that's what the majority of what they are doing is. And it's kind of garbage. It is, you're not getting anything. You're getting a single cannabinoid or two cannabinoids from what hemp itself is, or the industrial hemp, versus what you would get with weed or hemp, the cannabis hemp. So the company that I work with, we call our stuff whole flower hemp. So it is a whole flower fluid. It's not an oil. So what's so different from the stuff that I work with versus everything else that's on the market is everything on the market, you're working with an oil or an oil-based product, or you have the flower itself smoking. So the way to get it to the body is just really poor. You can't absorb an oil, so it has to digest it. When you smoke it, you turn everything in that flower to once you light it past, or once it gets heated past a certain amount of degrees, like when you light it, it turns every cannabinoid in that plant or in that flower to either THC or CBD. So you're losing the majority of the plant. It's just kind of like isolated, except it's turning everything into either CBD or THC. So you're losing the majority of the plant. So the only way to keep the plant in entirety as itself is to do it without heating the plant up. And that's what's so different with the way that we do things, or the way that this company does things. I don't want to say it's weed, because I didn't do anything. I literally, I am a voice. I happened to hear something that I liked, and I ran with it. So like I said, I didn't do anything. I am a spokesperson, or I am a voice. So, but yeah, so they what they did is they created this extraction method, and they did it several years ago when it was considered to not be legal to do this, and so they couldn't necessarily brag about what they did. And then again, the inventor of the extraction method itself, it's just kind of a serendipitous thing. He didn't really realize what he did. He was trying to find a more pure form of THC, because every stoner likes a higher THC content.
Right.
It allows you to have a little bit more fun. But so that was what he was trying to do, and he tried to create this. And every single time he tried to do something with this, it was like he calls them the hempsters. People who catch on to fads and jump onto it really quickly, so that it dirties the market really quickly. And so you can't really get out what you have unless you have great marketers or something. So
right.
Every time he decided he wanted to do something, these hempsters were beating him to the market. And
I love that phrase.
Yes, these hempsters. Yeah, and so I don't necessarily know how he decided that he was going to create this, but when he realized what he had, that was when he created this product. And this is called Soothe.
Oh, there you go.
It's called Soothe, and this is literally 100% plant. There is nothing in it, nothing taken away, nothing's been isolated. There's no additives, there's no chemicals used, there's no heat used. This is literally as if I only say this as an example, because this is not what we do, but it's literally as if you were to cut the plant open and drink the blood. That's all there is. Wow. It is literally plant.
Show the bottle just one more time.
Here we are.
Oh, back it up just a little bit, just so people at home can see, and then just keep on talking, because I have it on speaker view, so it'll go to me if I keep talking.
Okay. Well, so first of all, you actually cannot find this stuff anywhere. You either have to purchase it from somebody like myself, or you have to know somebody in the company. So the reason we do this is because what we have is so incredible. It is like we literally kind of like we broke physics. Like they have been trying to create this water soluble product or a way to extract something for so long, and they've been putting it in oils because they know our bodies can, we can break down these fats. And so they've always been trying to find a way to create something that's water soluble, and they have not been able to do so. So when they did this, it was so freaking incredible. I'm going to show you what it does in water real quick, because like I said, you guys know what oil does in water. It'll stay at the very top, or it'll, if it's got heavy particles in it, it'll sink to the bottom, but it all stays clumped together.
Yeah, it's clearly two different substances in the container.
Exactly. And the unfortunate thing too with CBD oil is what you'll have to do is you'll have to take usually a full dropper worth of this stuff, which is approximately 20 drops. Now, I've seen somewhere it's up to 40 drops, which is 2 full droppers.
Wow.
And it's insane, because what you're doing is people think that they're getting, this incredible product or this incredible CBD. And what's happening is, they're not looking at their cost per dose. So they get a bottle that's, about this big, and they're like, oh, sweet, this is amazing stuff. But you're taking a dropper and a half full of that. So you've got 15 to 20 doses in that bottle, and you just spent $100 on it. You're looking at, $7 or $8 a dose. So it's like, we're looking at these things like beer. And unfortunately, the effectiveness of CBD oil is approximately like 50%. So it's like there's something called a bell curve effect. So if you take too much CBD oil, too much for your body to handle, your body will reject all of it. If you take too little of it, your body will still reject it. So it's not enough to do anything. So you literally have to take the perfect amount of it. Otherwise it won't work. And then over time, what's happening is your body is going to start building up this tolerance for it. So that level is going to start rising and rising. So you're going to be spending more and more money until eventually, it's probably not going to work.
All right. So this is why I had you on, because it's like I don't know a lot about this. I've been in shops and I've looked at like, okay, there's different levels. Mike, I would just assume, just because I know there are medical benefits, and especially as someone who likes to be active, sometimes you just feel beat up, and so I was like, I imagine, oh yeah, more CBD, then I get to recover more, right? So that's such a good piece of information for
I think a lot of people do everyone. That too, though.
Where they just load up.
Yeah, I think that's kind of human nature, though. Is like you think I'm in extra pain, so I'm going to take 5 ibuprofen instead of 2. So it's like whatever it is, we do things in excess, because here in America, we like excess. It's a good thing, but too much of a good thing is not a good thing.
That's true. There's always like a perfect amount, at least a pocket. There's a range of good.
Absolutely, yeah. No, that is definitely true. And I think the unfortunate thing is the marketers kind of they bet on the fact that people don't know what they're buying. So it's just like the unfortunate thing of like I said, you can only purchase this stuff from an individual like myself or somebody who works with the company, because we're an education company. We're not in this to make millions and millions of dollars. We know what we did, and we know we're going to make millions and millions of dollars. Like this is, first of all, I know I kept saying I was going to show it to you, and I keep forgetting to, but let me show you what this does in water. So like I said, this stuff is 100% plant. So what you're getting here is literally 100% water compatibility. Were you able to see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So it literally, without trying, that stuff literally absorbs into the water immediately. And then within, probably, 15, 20 seconds, or if I stir it up, it'll be completely gone. So that's what it does in your body. So essentially, like when you put oil into water, it'll sit at the top. That's exactly what it's doing with your body. Your body's not absorbing it. So
I mean, that was almost like right away. You can already see it started to fade away. Got a cool splash effect as well. Little visual for everyone watching.
And the crazy thing is the dose of this is only 2 drops. So the cost per dose, this little bottle, everybody, they always look at it this thing and like, oh man, no, I'm not going to buy that thing. That thing is so tiny. And it's like, okay, but you're getting 50 to 75 doses out of this little bottle.
That is a lot.
Insane. You're getting 3, 4, 5 times the amount of product in this than you are with a bottle of CBD oil. And not to mention, like I said, because you can only absorb 5 to 10% of any oil, your body is only absorbing 5 to 10% of one cannabinoid versus the entire plant DNA, the entire thing. The plant itself has roughly 100, they know of 113 right now, but there's approximately like 130 different cannabinoids in this plant. There's several hundred terpenes, several hundred flavonoids in there. So when you're only getting CBD, it's not a good thing. So when they say CBD with no THC, that's a really bad thing because you need THC to create to make that CBD to actually activate properly. So I'm not saying CBD without THC will not work. I'm saying the effectiveness of it drops lower than it already is.
Now, when you say something like that, I think some people might be like, "Oh, I don't want to, I don't want to get high. Don't want to, feel all funky." Is there? I mean, obviously, like you said, and with any sort of consuming of anything, everyone's going to have a predisposition on the way something makes them feel or how they react. But is there like a ballpark area or level of THC to where it's like, okay, generally you shouldn't notice any sort of change in the way you feel?
Yeah. So here's the thing. So THC, the only possible way that THC can be activated so it can actually make you high is if it's heated up. If you eat THC and it has not been heated, I'm not talking about if you eat a gummy or you eat an edible because that stuff's been heated. It's already been put through an oven. If you eat THC by itself, it won't get you high. Or if it's less than 0.3 THC, I want to say that. Because if it's less than 0.3 THC, which is the legal dosage of it, like you physically cannot get high because it's not heated. And that's what happens with this is they don't use any heat at all. That's why it keeps it. So like we've had people do hair follicle samples, blood samples, urinalysis, mouth swabs, like you name it, and has not. Excuse me, I apologize about that. No one has popped on a test before, and we've had people that work for the government use this stuff. Like my girlfriend, hopefully, her employees aren't watching this because obviously we don't want to get her in trouble, but she works for the airlines and, you physically cannot have THC in your body. If you're working for the airlines, you'll get fired immediately. And she's using this stuff and it literally does not show up on a drug test. So it's the beauty of it is when you don't heat it up, you physically cannot get high. Like it is. And
this is why we're talking, man. See, there's a lot of, I think, like we mentioned earlier, there's a lot of misinformation. And second of all, there's this lack of information and knowledge just because it's been so suppressed for so long. And we're just now diving into it and figuring out like, what is this? What does that do? How does it work? What's the difference? And the fact that this plant can be consumed and used in so many different ways, both like you said, for industrial purposes, now for health or even recreational. This is. Man, I'm loving this conversation.
I love talking about this stuff. This is something I do. I'm not kidding you, man. I work as my second job is I'm a hotel night auditor for a Marriott property, and I have my business cards on me 24/7. Like because I work at night. I don't have very many people come check in. So if people do come in, they're usually standing up front and they're willing to talk to me for a little bit and. No, I literally talk to everyone willing to listen. Like the unfortunate thing is because this is like, I don't like being a salesman. This is not something that I just happened to work with a company that made a product. So it's like, and what they did is, above and beyond what everybody else in the world has done so far. So it's like, I like that we have this product, but unfortunately, a lot of times when you start talking to people, because there is so much misinformation out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they hear CBD and they almost like kind of tune out because
like, oh, that's
they think
snake oil stuff.
yes,
Yeah.
And so it's unfortunate because like so this is something I found out semi recently, probably within the past couple months. So our body, every single second, how many chemical reactions do you think we have?
Chemical reactions every single second.
Every
Let's
second.
go crazy. Say 1,000.
37 trillion.
That's a second.
A second.
That's insane.
A second.
I thought 1,000 was like, oh, I'm probably pretty close. Oh my gosh.
That's what I thought. Yeah, no, I'm thinking the same thing. Yeah, no. So every heartbeat, every beat of your heart takes, I think it was like 86 or 87 chemical reactions.
Wow.
So everything in our body is made up of these chemical reactions. We're made up of like, I want to say it was like 100 trillion different viruses in the body. Like that's
a scary thing to hear.
Well, that's the crazy thing though, is like, you know, we have all these different viruses that we haven't been vaccinated for. And like, I don't want to talk about anti-vaccine. I'm not saying, I don't want to get into that stuff, but you know, all this stuff that we haven't been vaccinated for, but you know, we aren't getting sick. And it's because, you know, our body is made up of bacteria and these viruses, you know, it just happens to have roughly 10 trillion cells in there, but the majority of our body is made up of bacteria and viruses. Every time you shake someone's hand, you're transmitting 10,000 plus viruses to them, and they're transmitting 10 plus thousand viruses to you.
Ooh, like people at home might be trembling right now.
Exactly.
The year 2020.
Yeah, and so this whole stuff of, you know, I'm not knocking people for doing this because, you know, at my work it's kind of mandatory. They enforce us to you know, wipe everything down completely right now because they're trying to be super safe. But what happens is when you use this antibacterial stuff, yeah, you are killing germs, but it has been proven that those germs that you just killed within a matter of minutes will 100% be back. So it's like you're not doing anything. You're literally not doing anything except killing the good bacteria that you need to fight off the bad bacteria. So it's like we're being counterproductive by trying to disinfect everything. It is, you know, we need to feed the immune system, not kill the germs. Our body is made up of germs. We are literally
We are germs.
Yeah, we are a germ. We have a name. But yeah, it's like you know, people can do their own research on this stuff, but I mean, even looking at the whole mask thing. So the average pore for a mask is anywhere between 16 microns upwards to like 56 microns. The average size of the virus is anywhere between 0.06 microns, anywhere upwards to 0.12 microns. So you can fit through one single pore. I'm not talking about through the mask. I'm talking about through one pore, one single tiny pore. You can fit approximately like 300 to like 1,500 single viruses through one pore. Like what's happening is, this is, like I said, this is all opinion stuff. So don't sue me.
Yeah. I don't know. I know you'll probably shake a couple people with that last comment, but I'm totally open to hearing what you have to say. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I appreciate that. So what's happening is, like I said, you know, when you disinfect something, this bacteria will literally grow back within minutes. So what happens when we breathe into these cotton or these cloth masks? We are actually causing condensation to grow in there, or to like make this mask wet. And then the heat, like, I don't know, you live in California. I don't necessarily know how hot it is there.
It's been hot lately.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, yeah, same here. So yeah, in these hot environments, what's happening is you breathe, you're causing this condensation to be on this mask. And then all of a sudden, with the heat, you're pairing that up to be like an infestation for bacteria to start growing.
Right.
So when people aren't changing their masks literally every like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, which can cost a ton of money, which is another thing. It's like, this is ridiculous.
Right.
So, you know, if you're not changing your mask every 10, 15 minutes, you're actually breathing in bacteria, which will cause pneumonia. So all these COVID patients right now, they're testing positive for pneumonia as well. I'm curious how many of them were wearing a mask in these hot temperatures, because, you know, we already know that the numbers were skewed. So
Right. The whole reporting is, I mean, there's reporting that's not COVID, and there's not reporting COVID deaths. If you're like, there's suspected, like, you know, I talked to a police officer and like, oh yeah, well, if someone, you know, if we find someone and then they, you know, there's good belief that they had COVID, we still can't rule it just because it's, you know, they're already dead. There's no reason for us to go test them and do this whole thing. And then obviously the skewing, as you know, people have heard for hospitals, it's understandable just because, you know,
it's an environment.
People aren't going to the hospitals, and so now they don't have money coming in, and, you know, it sucks because now people that will need to be treated or even need to be treated for other things now aren't going to have as much access because hospitals are going out because this whole thing is taking this up. But yeah, it's an interesting thing, just to backpedal a little bit. If you read some of like the cleaning products that you have in your household, you know, really common stuff like wipes and sprays, a good amount of them tell you you like want to saturate whatever surface that you have, right? It's not simply just you spray and wipe and try and dry it off right away. There's some of them like you spray it and let it sit for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And 10 minutes for it to actually be effective. So that 99.9 thing doesn't actually kick in. So you've really let it like soak and sit.
Exactly.
And then especially at home, you're probably going to touch it and use all that stuff again.
Exactly.
So it's an interesting thing. And then moving forward with the whole temperature aspect of what you were talking about, you know, something to think about, like in your bathroom, you take a shower, right? If you take warm showers, you want to, that's the reason why we have fans in there, because you want to ventilate, you know, and get all of that out. So that way that you're not getting all that mold and anything that grows in that in-between range, right? Where it's humid and then it's warm, and before it's completely cooled down. And same thing with your food, right? Your food does the same thing. You actually don't want to leave out your food because you're leaving it in that in-between range of when, you know, things start growing on it.
It's like prime time.
Exactly. And so people at home, maybe if you didn't learn something from so far about CBD, at least take that. Like, don't leave your food out after you cook it if you're going to just put it away in the fridge. Like, either eat it or put it straight into the fridge so it can go to a safe, cool temperature.
I have done that multiple times in my life.
Growing up, that's what I heard too. Yeah. You leave it out, let it cool down a little bit on its own, and then you can go put it away. It's like, no, dude, just put it in the fridge.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way to go. It's the safe way.
Yeah. And kind of just going off of like the whole temperature of food thing, like this is kind of like how I started with things, was with enzymes, kind of like with the gut health. And so
yes, actually, that's why I got interested in you, in your profile. Was that you're studying like gut health and gut biomes. If you really want to, you know, give us a little bit of background on that and how that relates to CBD, that'd be amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So dealing with the gut, roughly like, so experts, they've kind of narrowed it down. They say approximately between 70 and 80% of the immune system is actually located in the gut. And so it's like, we know that the gut is the second brain. So it's like, you know, we want to keep these things healthy. If we're not keeping them healthy, I mean, we know that eating poorly can cause depression. And we know this because we're not getting the nutrients. So it's like all these chemicals are these, you know, trillions and trillions and trillions of chemical reactions that are happening each second. You know, it's not working properly because we're not getting the nutrients we need. So all these bacteria and viruses in our body, like, we have to feed them. And if we're not feeding them stuff that they can eat, like, we have 1 million cells dying every second, but there's also 1 million being born every second. So it's like, if all of these cells are dying off that have any possible nutrients into it, and we're just constantly just feeding garbage and more garbage and garbage into our body, like, our body is there's this doctor from Tucson. It's about 2 hours away from where I live. I love listening to him. He's just a brilliant guy, and he talks about this the body like this. Okay, so our outer body is like the protective shell of the body. So we can't really absorb anything through it. I mean, we can a little bit, but it's not like it's pretty protective, outside of a couple chemicals and stuff. But the inside of the body, like this area right here is this, it's a smart tube, and like it's made to pull nutrients out of our body or out of this food that we're eating. And if we're not getting the proper nutrients that we need, stuff like leaky gut can happen. And when leaky gut happens, we have all these holes that are happening in the inside of our body that we're literally letting anything pass through there. And so when that happens, I mean, it's like dealing with ulcers. I used, man, growing up, I drank so much soda. It was
it's
ridiculous.
good, especially when your kids like, oh, the sugar, it's amazing.
Yes. Yeah, and when I was younger, like I was, I come from a family that was separated when I was about 5 years old or 4 years old, and so different rules at different houses.
You got to take advantage.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like living at my dad and my stepmother's house. I love them both to death, but at that point in time, because I had ADHD, it was like they were limiting the amount of soda that I had coming in, like tremendously.
And you're already a rocket. We need to you slow this train down a little bit.
Yeah, and so I had to either drink, like if I was drinking soda, it'd be like root beer or it would be Sprite or anything non-caffeinated. So it was like, don't get me wrong, I loved soda in general, so it was like I was still getting my fix. But when I was over at my mom's house, I was drinking Coke, Mr. Pibb, Dr. Pepper, all the dark sodas, all the ones that are really, really bad for the body. But Sprite's really bad too. It's way more calories, but still, like the over the years I built up ulcers, and so sometimes like when I have a really like Pibb Extra will do it. If I drink Pibb Extra, like it burns the crap out of my stomach, and so it's like I use that similar to like leaky gut. So if we're letting things into our body, it's not good for it. So our goal is to create a environment in our gut that is essential to a proper or a healthy body. And the way to do that is to essentially got to eliminate the toxins in your body. You have to, oh man, there's 3 things to it. Let me see. I think I wrote that one down. Sorry, I do have notes still. Let's see.
No, that's why we have them. That's why you have them. I don't have notes, guys. I'm still completely candid here. I'm just going with the flow. Bam.
What did I say? What was the last thing that I had said? I apologize on that one. I was talking about leaky gut. I was talking about certain things. Oh, there was 3 things that happened. Okay.
Yes.
You sure I highlighted it?
Will I find it if I Google it? I got Google already here.
Probably.
Let's see. Do we have leaky gut? Boom. First time using this part. What is symptoms of leaky gut? Oh, whoa. Are we looking for symptoms? Is that what we're doing?
No, it was dealing with...
First thing I saw was diarrhea, constipation, or bloating. I'm like, oh, that's not fun.
Yes, not fun at all. I can't necessarily find it. I know it's in here somewhere, but maybe I'll remember it here in a couple minutes. I'll go off on a tangent again or something. But so like there's certain things that we can do for our body to stay healthy. And, one main thing is like when we look at probiotics. So a lot of times when like probiotics, there's those marketing ploys there again. And so when we think about probiotics,
every yogurt company I've ever seen is like, oh,
exactly.
Probiotic. I'm like, how
so crazy.
How much does your super sweet and amazingly delicious yogurt help me out? Because typically when it comes to food that people make in mass quantities, the better it tastes, the less nutritious it tends to be.
Exactly. Yeah, so with probiotics, the funny thing is, like, if you see it in the refrigerator, more than likely it's absolute garbage. Because we got to think about this. Our body's temperature is approximately 98, 99 degrees, somewhere right in there. And when something has to stay in the refrigerator to stay alive, what happens when it hits your body? Like, it has to go through the digestive tract, and that entire time it's being heated up. So like it's literally killing what would be alive. So it has to be a stabilized probiotic. And if it's not,
our body temperature is about double of what a typical refrigerator is at.
Exactly. So that's another marketing thing. You know, they put it in yogurts, they put it in drinks, all these different things that you could do with the refrigerator, and people they're buying it up because, I mean, don't get me wrong, like I said, I was one of those individuals that have been fooled many times by marketing. And it really just does come down to, you got to do your own research, because if you don't, you're willing to buy anything. And as unfortunate that is, like I said, I came from a pretty heavy family. And so at one point in time, I was a pretty large individual, and I was trying to cut some weight. And this is before I knew anything about, the gut health or anything about CBD. And so I was trying to find pills that would, help me lose weight. And it's like, you buy all these things because you hear these things, and it's like they don't work. And it's like, oh man, I just
everyone wants the easy way out.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like, it's an unfortunate thing. We love quick fixes here in America. It's just we don't have patience for a lot of things. And
let's touch on this real quick. You don't have to comment, but this is one of my favorite things to talk about. I don't think it was shared on this show, but patience is key, everyone. Be content with what you have. We're so used to movies, TV shows on demand. Now Amazon, literally anything you want. Buy a new pair of shoes, a curtain, for your window, new bed sheets, a light for your toilet so it glows every time you walk by it.
Anything you want.
And then your food, almost anything now. Now there's like boutique, especially services for pretty much every industry now that'll get it to you overnight, it seems like.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
we're so used to dating's on your phone now. Everything is just like in the palm. Literally, the world is in the palm of your hand. And so, especially in America and other first world nations, they're just like, oh yeah, why do I have to wait for anything? Like, you get instant gratification all the time, all day.
Exactly.
And so it's funny, internet page takes 10 seconds to load up, and we're throwing a fit. I'm like, guys, do you remember dial-up? Do you remember what that used to be like?
Yes.
Not that long ago. I know like younger people watching and listening have no idea what we're talking about. Go look it up. You couldn't use your computer, which was this giant contraption, and your home phone at the same time. You had to pick one, guys. You couldn't do multitasking with your devices because that's how sensitive it was. But it's just so funny, it's like when like my mom will text me, like, oh, you haven't texted me back yet. I'm like, Mom, do you realize? Do you remember? Exactly. I remember. It took a long time for anything to go through, and now it's. I had hours where I had to wait to text because it was so expensive. If you
exactly
reached your limit,
9 p.m. Yeah. Oh man, I remember that one.
After hours, when you had to pay per minute, you had to pay per text back in the day. You had your telephone plan, your cell phone plan. Was like pre-allotted. You're paying for X amount of time to talk and text. Now, it's a lot more accessible, and limit plans are a little bit more affordable. But back in the day, if you went over, it's like, boom, that's where they made their money.
Insane.
And so
yes, indeed.
After hours, depending, it's usually like 7, 8, 9 o'clock. We say, all right, text and call as much as you want. And that's when everyone would start talking.
And the crazy thing is that point in time, that was when I had to go to bed. So it was like I got my phone taken away.
Yeah,
it was
that was terrible. It's like the little time that I do have is so limited, and then I got to wake up and go to school. Like, this sucks.
Oh, the life. Yeah, it's like when we look back at it, I'm a big fan of, I hate the phone. Like I don't like talking on the phone. I would much rather be in person, because it's like, if it's not through video, like you can't see people's how they respond to certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So like I use my brother as an example. Like he likes to text. He is a person who, and I'm not saying like he's a huge texter or anything like that. I'm saying like he's an individual who likes to communicate through text because it gives him time to think and process certain things. And I'm definitely one of those individuals as well, but I prefer to do that in person because it's like I am big on being able to read people. Like I like being able to see how, you know.
Give me 1 sec. I have.
Oh yeah, you froze a little bit.
Aha.
There we are.
We's back. All right.
All right.
So next thing we were just talking about phones and times and good old times.
Yeah, the good old times. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of being on the phone 24/7. So it's just I use my phone for business. Like if I'm doing business, it's pretty much on my phone. I don't use a laptop anymore. I think it's just I like having everything in my pocket. So it's it's really quick. And then but yeah, outside of that, I'm not a huge texter anymore.
It took me a while to get this podcast onto Zoom just because I like being in person. And one, I also like the equipment I have is captures audio a lot better. And so I was like, oh man, I have to trade a little bit of audio quality because it goes like up to the through the internet and I then receive it back. So it chops it a little bit. But I was like, but I get this video aspect. So at least I can still see it, can talk to a lot more people. I know
this is I like this. This is awesome, man.
Thank you. I'm having a lot of fun, and it's nice being able to see your face. And we're in 2 different states. I'm in California. He's in Arizona. So it's super cool that we're able to do this. And technology is rewarding. I'm not sure we'd be able to do this on dial-up.
Exactly. Not too much.
Yeah, it's funny when people are texting, especially me. I love comedy. I like to make people laugh. I love to be funny. I'm sarcastic. And it's really easy. And I think a lot of people read their own intention into what they're reading, whether it's a text or even in, like, say, an article. And I think that's where people
absolutely
get heated or they misinterpret, the intention of whether it's an article or a text or even maybe just like, say you like watch a video and read the captions, right? And have the sound off and then watch it again. I'm sure you're going to have a very, very different take on the video, even if it's a mostly factual, say it's talking about, animals or COVID-19, it's interesting to see how like our mood at that moment or just the way that we usually speak, or if you think that, maybe I'm a little bit upset right now and you read someone's text, you think they're upset at you, but really they're just like, oh yeah, no big deal. Oh yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh yeah, no big deal, whatever.
It's, like the Key and Peele video.
Yes, watch that, guys. That's the great.
It's funny.
Literally shows up with a bat because he's like ready to bust this guy's brains out, and the other guy's like, hey buddy,
hey.
It's like whatever. And
this bullet right here.
And the other guy is just like, yeah, whatever. But you lose that when you take away voice and the visual aspect. So, I
think honestly, like I'm really thankful in that aspect. My girlfriend right now, like she is an individual that very much likes to speak her mind, and I'm very thankful for that. But it is nice being able to if there's any kind of miscommunication through text, I guarantee you I'm getting a phone call. And it's just I like that. I like the idea, or the Skype or another. We do. I think it's WhatsApp or something. I don't use technology. Like I don't have any social media anymore. I don't. I'm not a techie. I like to read on the internet, but that's certain topics.
Yeah, man. It's funny. It's like yeah, I think that's a good thing to do. I think just to clarify, and people don't guess, don't assume, just ask. I think that's the best way to go. It's
exactly.
Like, even if it is a call, it may seem a little aggressive, like, hey, so what you mean by that, buddy? It's better it's better to clear the air than live your life assuming, something is going a certain direction, right? Because then you have 2 different people going 2 different ways on the same thing. And one person thinks, oh, everything's fine and dandy. The other person's, worried and like has this cloud over their head.
Absolutely.
And so
communication key.
Yeah. Speaking of cloudiness and whatnot and being all up in your head, I know CBD, look at this segue. Boom. I know CBD
I love it.
Can help with a lot of things.
Yes, indeed.
And so, I mean, just what I know, again, it's supposed to help with muscle aches, anxiety. I'm not sure if depression is one of them, but I know it's got such an array of things that can help treat, obviously to different points of effectiveness. But what are, I'd say, some of the more interesting ones, or probably maybe the most relevant ones to like today's world that you think or have seen in the CBD world as far as what it can help people overcome?
Okay. So I say CBD itself, I'm not sure if I actually said this already, but and I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but CBD is an adaptogen. So it's essentially whatever your body needs to use it for, because it literally regulates every system in the body. Your body knows what it needs, and it's different than what your head thinks you need. So it's like, you could be thinking to yourself, oh man, my elbow is so sore today. Like I worked out and my elbow is just super sore. And you may be really depleted of CBD. So, when you take CBD, it could help your arm. I'm not saying that it won't, but because your body needs it, it could be like, hey, bro, I need to use it in your digestive tract. Like it's really messed up right now. So I'm going to use it there. And so all of a sudden, you're like, pain in the elbow is still there. And you're like, oh man, didn't work. And it's not true. Like once your body gets filled, once the receptors are filled, and you naturally, you keep them going daily, or you make sure you keep your receptors filled daily. But when your receptors are filled and the body's in homeostasis, it will work. It literally works every single time. The crazy thing is dealing with CBD oil, like I said, it has that bell curve effect. So it sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If you take too much, it's null and void. If you take too little, you didn't take enough of it. So with doctors on the West Coast right now, and I am saying this because this is the individuals at the top of our company are saying this as well. So it's like, we know, you can say certain things, you can't say certain things, because you have to be able to back your claims. If you can't back your claims, you can't do it, because naturally they're wanting to sue you for everything.
Right.
It's just, it's so crazy dealing with plant medicine, what you can and can't do, because you're going against big pharma, and big pharma does not want you there.
Money is involved. Like I said earlier, people who make a lot of money don't want to stop making a lot of money.
Exactly. Well, so to kind of go on, this is so on the West Coast. So our company is based out of San Diego. And so doctors on the West Coast right now, we have had 100% success with autism, literally 100% success. Every single time we have tried it with autism, it has worked.
That's amazing. So that's something, I think that was the one I've seen videos of, and it's such an interesting thing. And I have people close to me with autism, and so it's
absolutely.
And I've been blessed to be part of martial arts programs in facilities that do offer classes that allow folks with autism and other just like learning disabilities to be part of the martial arts world, and just be like everyone else. And because they are like everyone else, and it's just they have a little different things going on. Some people have depression, some people have injuries, they're missing a limb, some people are with autism, and so it's cool when we recognize and make an effort to bring everyone together. And so when I've seen the effects of what it can do and help kind of make life easier for those with autism, I think it's just so amazing, because it's something that the whole health industry has really struggled to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think an unfortunate thing is autism itself is such a misunderstood thing. It's like,
yes,
there are so many people that actually are in the autism spectrum, or the
it is
Asperger's
a very
spectrum.
wide range, and people aren't aware, and doesn't mean that you're going to act or look a certain way. It's personality. It's like color, right? You know, there's a lot of different shades of blue and green and yellow, right? It's a spectrum, and so that's what people need to understand. It can be like a super very light pastel yellow, and all of a sudden it's a deep gold, right? Almost orange,
Absolutely.
you know. So I think that's a good way to look at it. Is to, I mean, just imagine, you know, all 50 and 50 more shades that there could possibly be.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing is like I am colorblind. So like
Okay.
the concept of color, like I totally get it because like I'm red green colorblind. So like I can see red and green both. If red and green are on top of each other, some of the times I'll miss one of the colors. It's usually going to be green. But so the shade difference, unless the shade difference is pretty
Significant.
noticeable. Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily say significant because I don't think I am considered to be like hardcore colorblind. Like I'm definitely colorblind. I found that out while I was in the military. Like I actually going through MEPS, I found out that I was colorblind. My brother is actually color deficient, which is even less than I am. So he ended up losing his job in the military because he was color deficient, which was really unfortunate. But
my best friend growing up was colorblind and had interest in the military as well. But I used to mess with them all the time growing up. I'm like, what color is this?
Oh
bro?
Yeah.
Did you ever try out those glasses? I don't know how effective they are.
I have not. I've been curious about it because it's like, to me, what I see is like, it's normal to me. So I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything, at least not right now. Like, I don't know. I have literally no idea if like, I put those glasses on, it would be like, you know, a bunch of different shades of red and green. But, you know, what I can see right now is what I know. And like, I still think colors are pretty. Like, I still enjoy all these different colors. Or not like, I don't feel like I'm missing out on color, at least.
No, yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's kind of like, I'd imagine being blind, like fully blind, can't see. It's like, if you're born that way, then that's just the world as it is. So there's not really like any change for you, right? It'd probably be like crazy to see because you're just like, well, this is a whole new thing I'm not doing.
I'd be curious to see what they work.
How about like your shirt? Like, to me, I can see like they overlap and they're different spots where it's slightly different shades. Is that all solid blue stripes to you? Same color all across?
No, I can see it because of the mixed match of like the white and the dark. So when the white and the dark are there, like I can see the shade difference because it's such a massive shade difference.
And you can see when the blue lines cross over, can you see the darker square?
Yeah. That one I can see as well. Yeah. So it's like I said, I'm not like
very light.
Yeah, and it's with red and green as well. It's like the
geez, you said that. We're talking blue here.
no worries. Yeah, well, at nighttime, you know, dark colors they mesh with me. So it's like, I've ran a couple stop signs at night. Like
that's what I've always wondered. I'm like, that's where, you know, that might be a little bit of an issue is when you're driving, which can be scary, you know, depending on where you're at and how busy the street is.
Yeah, well, just with stop signs, that because I can completely tell the difference between the actual lights themselves. So it's not like I can't see that. And even if I couldn't, like I know where the order is. But.
Is it over where you live? Is it top down? Do you have any sideways ones? I know, like when I've been to Utah, they'll have their lights sideways. It looks cool, but I'm like, oh, this is so strange.
Yeah, no, there are a couple areas, and is so very, very, very few of the ones that are actually horizontal. Most of them are vertical.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, they are weird when you see those ones though, because they never know which direction it's coming from.
Yeah, man. Okay, where are we at? How are we doing on time? I mean, we chatted a little bit before the actual recording. I had about 2 hours. Do you have a hard out time for yourself?
Oh no, I didn't really have any. It was just kind of whenever it was going to end. Like
I love it. Great, because I still have questions for you.
Oh, perfect.
Like I said, like when we were chatting earlier, and a large part of my interest is for athletes. I know CBD is an upcoming thing for recovery, and especially when they're working out hard and they're trying to get that extra edge. You know, I have people like LeBron James who's spending, you know, at least $1 million a year on just taking care of his body and making sure he's in prime shape. And you look at him now with what he's been doing with the Lakers after so many years of playing basketball, he's still moving like he just got into it.
And just beat Kobe's record back in January.
He's scoring like crazy, and he's, you know, he's not slowing down, which if you look at historically, and especially just in the NBA alone, you know, those, you know, veteran players start changing their play style a little bit more technical. It's not a bad thing, but, you know, their bodies aren't
as quick.
Yeah, they're not limber. They're not trying to go for contested dunks, and, you know, they're not bumping bodies as much once they're approaching 40.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some of the most I say maybe some like the biggest pieces of like misinformation? I know you were talking about like oils and putting it on your skin earlier. Are there things that athletes should maybe stay away from and try instead? Like basically, if you're an athlete, what are you looking for, and what are you trying to avoid when it comes to finding a good CBD product that's going to help you recover and feel like somewhat normal and not like super achy anymore?
Okay. So what I would say, first of all, like I said, like until something else comes out that's similar to this, like this is literally the only brand that I ever recommend, because they have a couple different products, but they are all the exact same extraction method.
I'm not sure if you dropped the name. What was the name of the company?
Oh, the company is called Brizo Pure.
Okay. And we'll, guys, as per usual, everything will be in the description. I'll provide links so you guys can go follow up and see what's going on there, and maybe get some of your own. I know I'm definitely interested in trying that as well. But yeah, all the information I'll grab from you, so the folks listening and watching can check it out.
Okay, yeah, sounds great. What I honestly would recommend is dealing with athletes. Like I know earlier, I think I had heard you mention something that you had spoken to someone who was a dancer, and so like this is perfect for them. So not necessarily CBD. Don't get me wrong, like it's perfect for everybody, but dealing with athletes and people who are very active individuals. So what our body consists of is the majority of our body is made up of water. So we have roughly like 70 to 75% of our body, which is made up of water. The stuff that holds that together is collagen. And there's roughly 28 different types of collagen in the human body. But the majority of that collagen that holds together your skin, your nails, your bones, literally everything, it's like the glue that holds you together. The majority of that is type 1 collagen. So what I would recommend is using I use a type 1 collagen as well, but when dealing with collagen, you have to make sure that it's hydrolyzed. If the collagen itself has not been hydrolyzed, like when you see it in the powder, like, because I want to say it's probably like 2 or 3 years ago, like it became like a massive thing, like people everywhere. I'm sure it was probably, you know, a huge thing in the past before as well, but it was like, you know how these things go in waves. And so it's like we hit a wave of everyone talking about collagen and getting into collagen. And so you see all these different brands out there, and all of them are these different powders. You know, you put it in your drink or do whatever whatever. There's so many different things out there. But what happens is if it's not hydrolyzed, you can't digest collagen. So you have to absorb it. So when it's not hydrolyzed, you are literally wasting your money. Like your body will literally just out it goes. So, you know, you see these bottles or these cans of collagen that are like $60, and you see it says type 1, type 2, type 3, type 5, type 7, type 9, type 27. Like a lot, when people see this stuff, this is another marketing tactic. When you see this stuff, you're thinking, awesome, I'm getting all of this stuff.
It's loaded up.
Yeah, and so you're like, oh, sweet, I'm getting all this. And the crazy thing is, like I said, 90% of the collagen in your body is type 1. So you don't need all the other types of collagen. don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's important to have certain things in your body, but type 1 collagen is the collagen that holds your entire body together. So when we're given all these different things, and then the marketers aren't even saying how much type 1 is in there. So you could literally have like 1% of that thing is type 1 collagen and the rest is just all this other crap. So it's like, you're not getting anything. And that's, they count on this stuff. So, athletes, personally, I would suggest finding a type 1 collagen. There's one I use. It's by Icaria, and it's called Glow. And I could send you some information on that as well. But it works tremendous for joints. It works tremendous for sleeping. It works tremendous for thyroid issues. So it's like, when you give your body what it needs, it does what it's supposed to do. And at the age of 25, every year you start losing a minimum of 1% of the collagen in your body. So by the time you're 50, you're down to 75 to 60% of the collagen left in your body. And so that's why you see people when they get older, their skin sags, or their gums recede, or their hair is gone. And this is because your collagen makes up everything. It literally makes up everything. So it's like hearing people talk about taking calcium. Don't get me wrong, calcium's good, but collagen is literally what you need. It is the amount of collagen in your body compared to the amount of calcium. It's just like it's like pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals treat symptoms, not the root cause of something. So it's like, you're taking something that right here that's good for you, but it's like you're gonna have to take this, then take this, to end up over here, when you can just take this and be there. So it's like, and I don't want to say that this is true because I cannot remember if I actually fact checked this one or not. But I read somewhere or heard somewhere a couple of years ago that calcium, like when you take tons of calcium, it actually puts miniature holes in your bones. And it's not like large holes or anything, but it's like if you take a bunch of calcium, it causes your bones to actually become brittle. So breaking them is much more likely to happen in older age.
That's not ideal.
Not ideal at all. Yeah. And so kind of dealing with also going back to the athletes thing is another thing I would recommend is doing a proteolytic enzyme. So when you work out, you tax your body, you cause your muscles to become inflamed. And the only way to get rid of that inflammation is a proteolytic enzyme. So your body makes enzymes naturally. So you have your pancreas is filled with these enzymes. The unfortunate thing is when we're born, we have no idea how many enzymes we have. We don't know how many enzymes that will break down our proteins, how many enzymes will break down our fats, all these different enzymes that we have in our body. We have no idea how much we have. So we kind of base it on like, so our parents, it takes approximately 7 years, I think, for your body to kind of like go through like a rebirthing cycle.
Right,
so if you stop doing something, in about 7 years, your body will be much more healthy at that point in time as opposed to like if you didn't do it. Like, how if you stop smoking, your lungs will naturally just get better over time. It's not like it's instant, but over a course of time, these things will get better. And so, oh man, I forgot why I was talking about that. Oh man,
in relation to athletes and whatnot.
Oh yeah, with proteolytic enzymes. And so, we don't know how many enzymes that we have. And so the main goal of an enzyme in the body is to heal it. So anytime we eat anything that's cooked or processed, anything that's cooked past 118 degrees, it kills every living nutrient in that every living nutrient in that bit of food. So it's like, you steam broccoli, awesome. It's still good, but it's not, like you killed so much of what was there because as soon as it gets cooked past 118, it may not happen if you steam it, but you can, if you cook broccoli, and go past 118 degrees, your pancreas then has to steal from itself in order to break that food down because your stomach acid doesn't break everything down. It has a good chunk of it, but your enzymes, the pancreas, it will release enzymes to help break down whatever's there. But the main goal of the pancreas is to release these enzymes to help build the body, help heal the body. So anytime we're, eating any of these things, we're just taxing it. And eventually, you get things like arthritis. A lot of people think arthritis happens because you get old, and that's not true. Same thing with gout. What happens is if, like here in America, we love to eat meat. We love to eat dairy products, things that are really high in protein. And when we do this, we're taxing the living crap out of our body, because here in America, we have such a high or overuse of protein. Like you only need, 20, 30 grams of protein a day. And we're forcing tons and tons and tons and tons of protein in our body. So all of a sudden, our body's trying to break these proteins down to an amino acid, and it can't do that anymore after you turn like people in their 40s or their 50s, or they all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, my hands hurt, or my knees hurt, my elbows, all these different joints. Because what's happening is when your body can't break it down to an amino acid, it breaks it down to a uric acid. Uric acid, what it looks like is, like if you look under a microscope, it looks like if you were to take a glass bottle and run over it with a steamroller, just like hundreds of times. So it's just these little tiny glass shards, and uric acid travels through the bloodstream. So your body is so incredibly intelligent. Like I said, it has like 37 trillion different chemical reactions that happen every second. It's all happening without us doing anything. It is literally happening on its own. Our body is so intelligent. It knows that it does not want to push that those glass shards through the vital organs. So what it does is it pushes it out at all of your joints and old injuries. So, arthritis, it literally is just, you can no longer break down proteins. If people were to stop eating protein, or massive amounts of it, or protein that's not in a plant, then, like I said, when you eat plants, the plant has natural enzymes, natural things to break itself down. So you won't have to tax your body to break that thing down. So therefore, any protein that's there in the plant, it will be broken down by itself. You won't have to break it down. So, the amount of there are kids right now being born with arthritis. Like it is so crazy. And it kids that can they can't move, to the point of arthritis hurting so bad. Like I know a kid that I went to high school with, and I didn't know this is what he had at that point in time. He was in a wheelchair. I saw him throughout high school, and didn't ever really talk to him until after high school, and found out he had arthritis. And it's so bad. He actually physically cannot walk most days.
Whoa.
He has these, so most of the time he'll be in an electric scooter, electric wheelchair. And then some days he'll have the braces, and he'll have to walk with those things. And so the arthritis in his body, he just has such a massive, massive amount of uric acid in his body. It's constantly, you got these glass shards everywhere. And the unfortunate thing is, I'm not knocking him by any means, but a lot of times, people don't fully, how do I say this without, okay, so I will, I'm a non-religious individual. I absolutely love studying religion and all these different types of, myths and stuff. It's fascinating to me, but I'm non-religious. And so if you are, I apologize if this sounds offensive. Okay. So I use religion as an example. I grew up in a hardcore Christian home, and on both sides. So my mom and my dad, both when they were separated, I grew up in a pretty hardcore Christian home. And so, oh man, where was I going with that? I was using religion as an example. Okay. A lot of people, they don't fully like their life. So they're wanting something better to happen. And dang it. That was the example I wanted, but I don't remember why I wanted that example. Dang it. Where was I going? Can you give me what did you say just prior to me going into that, if you don't mind?
Sorry, how far back?
Happens all the time.
We were talking
just a couple seconds.
Let's see. We started with the vegetables breaking things down and killing things when we heat them. And then Sorry, I just get so like wrapped up in just like listening sometimes.
Oh, no worries. Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly go on tangents a lot of times. So it's like a lot of the stuff that I have is just like, I need to explain this in order to get over to here. And it's like, so I'll go on all these different little tangents, and I end up forgetting where I was going originally. So.
No, it's good. But yeah, you were talking about your classmate or your friend from school that.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh,
yes.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So that's why I was using the example of religion is like, a lot of people don't like their life. So they look forward to having that eternal bliss afterwards. And so like, I completely understand it. Like I did grow up in a pretty hardcore Christian home. So like I get the want for having that enjoyment after life, because a lot of times, people are poor here. People have bad things happen to them here. So it's like, we have all these kind of misfortunes, and unless we know how to look at them and kind of either look at it like a lesson or a way to help shape our mind, a lot of the times we look at it as a negative thing. And when we do that, when we have all these negative thoughts constantly happening, we want to have something to look forward to. Mm-hmm. So when I told him about essentially, like, he understood the fact that he had uric acid in his body. Like he knew he had massive amounts of it, but he just couldn't get past the idea of that meat was causing it, because this kid eats so much meat. Like when I had social media, I'd see them go out to get burgers or corn dogs or hot dogs or like you name it.
Good stuff, like, man. It's tasty.
Yeah, I get it. Like I absolutely love food. It is a unfortunate thing for me because naturally I teach on plant health, and so I'm one of those doctors who smokes. I know what to do, but I don't choose to do it a lot of times, which is, gotta start doing it. But
it's tough, man. It's tough, man, especially when it's so pleasant,
so
when you're going the other way.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man, I'm a huge fan of fried food. So yeah, I'm trying to break habits right now, but plants themselves, man, they are just the miracle. It's like there's nothing plants can't do. So we look back at any ancient medicine, and it's frustrating because when we talk about ancient medicine, a lot of I'm going to use left-wingers as a statement because I'm completely non-political. After getting out of the military, I was done with the government. And no so, worries. But I've noticed a lot of times from the left side, it happens that, dang it, I did it again. I think I might be getting tired. Let's see, what was it talking about? Yeah, this is an occurrence that I have. Mine moves so freaking quickly at times.
We were talking about having like excessive meat and what plants can do for us.
Yeah. Oh, I was just talking about plants being kind of the miracle, but I don't remember where I was going with that. When we talk about ancient medicine, yeah. So a lot of times I've noticed from the left side is you get a lot of, because the left is very factual based. And that's one thing I do enjoy about that is, most of the time people from the left are very factual people. And people from the right, don't get me wrong, people from the left at the same time, they play on emotions a lot of times. The same thing with the right. The right uses emotion way more than anything else. So it's like, dealing with plant medicine, I'll use my best friend as an example. Like he doesn't believe in this stuff like at all. He thinks it's absolute snake oil, hogwash, and it's like I get it. Like the kid is absolutely brilliant. Like one of the smartest people I've ever met. But what happens is at some point in time, a lot of people, like you literally don't know what you don't know. And it's unfortunate because when pharmaceutical industries have, been around for 100 years or nearly 100 years, it's like we look at all of that information that was pumped out. It was pumped out by them. So we can't look at all the information that's there that they pumped out. I mean, we have freaking, I want to say it's Johns Hopkins University. And then there's like 2 or 3 other very prestigious colleges that are owned by the Rockefeller family. The Rockefellers freaking started pharmaceuticals. So it's like, of course, money doesn't want to stop making money. So
gotta check your sources,
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when growing up they teach you the food pyramid, and it's like, yeah, man, carbs are great, and it's just like, well, they can be, but everything's got to be limited, and the ratio of what you're teaching is not exactly ideal for a human body.
Exactly.
Everything else, like I remember all the milk campaigns growing up. I got milk, and it's like, now we're learning more and more. It's like, okay, maybe not as much milk, guys. Let's pump it back.
Exactly.
Might be part of the reason why ice cream isn't great for you.
Yeah, all these people are lactose intolerant because they ran out of the lactate enzyme. They literally, their body, when you stop being able to break down certain foods, naturally you're going to start feeling it. Did you know 70% of Americans, or over 70% of Americans, have digestive issues? And some of them have exactly, and some of them have no idea, because, like I said, arthritis is caused by not being able to break down proteins. So we have so many people that have arthritis that have no idea that it's a digestive issue.
Oh, wow.
So the issues that stem, like I said, our gut is our second brain. Over 70% of the immune system stems from our gut. So if our gut's not healthy, we are not healthy. And the majority of Americans are unhealthy, unfortunately. We are nutrient deficient, not drug deficient.
Yes, that's well said. We're I think we're starting to undo a lot of that as more natural remedies, and people are using the internet to its best effectiveness, and researching ways to do things at home and just use their diet as, the real treatment or cure for a lot of things. And
yeah, exactly.
Just because, sometimes a milkshake is really great, and sometimes actually all the time, fried chicken is amazing. Really great. That's like one of my biggest weaknesses. Exactly. It's fantastic. But when you have those things, or candies, and then all these factory or lab made consumables that we have that we enjoy, it is not what we're really intended to consume, especially when you throw in stuff that's not part of the natural human diet.
Exactly.
So your body responds accordingly. It's like trying to figure it out, and then if it can't, then it starts failing. And it's just funny to see how many of our problems could really just go back to just doing what you're supposed to do, move a little bit, eat right.
Exactly. That's a huge one. Literally, just move. Don't spend your days sitting on your butt. That is
you don't have to be a pro athlete to be healthy. Maybe you're not gonna be super shredded and look like you're about to wear a cape and fly around the city, but at least you can see it in like different countries too. I admire like a lot of European countries. When you look at like European people in general, they're very different from like American people.
Absolutely.
Speaking, they're more slim, right? And you just don't see as many people overweight. And there's just something about their skin and the way their eyes look, right? Or they look healthy, It's a hard thing to explain. Just like when you see someone, I'm not saying like, oh, the guy's buff or like, super shredded or something. It's just like they look like they're vivid, they're healthy, and like they're just glowing in a sense, because it's just like what you can.
Absolutely.
My automatic thought is just like, oh, that person moves and eats right and is active. Like those are the first things I think about. It's like hair looks great, like the quality of their hair, quality of their skin. There's something different, and really it's all just lifestyle choices.
Absolutely. Yeah. My girlfriend is actually from Jamaica, and she said, she says that back in her home, everyone had these fruit trees in their yards, like literally everyone. And so mangoes, a bunch of different other types of fruits. And so people would just naturally, walk through the yards and just pick them, and then just keep walking. Everybody kind of it was free game for everybody.
Just communal.
And so she grew up eating just really healthy, and like her skin is just, it is incredible. Like it actually has a glow to it. And she's actually 10 years older than me, or nearly 10 years older than me.
Wow.
So it's crazy. Like the plants, they are the life force. There is literally nothing better on this earth than plants. And even water, don't get me wrong, water is great, but water like this is not good for the body, or it's not great for the body. What happens is your body has a certain viscosity to it. So it's like when you eat watermelon, or when you eat a cucumber or celery, these things have large amounts of water in them. And it may not feel like we're getting filled up or like we're quenching our thirst necessarily when we're eating that stuff, but it has so much water in it, and it's actually the same viscosity as the water in our body. So our body has to do nothing at all to hydrate itself, versus this. That's why I say drink lukewarm water, or room temperature water, because if you do that, your body doesn't have to work as hard to break it down, but it still has to break it down because it's not good. It's not water that our body understands. So don't get me wrong, I drink this stuff daily because I like water. So just drinking water in general is nice. But if you were to eat fruits and vegetables, and just eat fruits and vegetables, and nuts naturally too, but eating these fruits that have all these high amounts of water in it, you would not need to drink water. It is literally just your body you give your body what it needs.
That's insane.
And, it's crazy. So just don't try that at home if no.
That's the other thing is execution, right? People, with whatever you're doing, do your research, and if you're gonna do it,
exactly,
make sure you do it right. A lot of people is like, oh man, like this regimen didn't work for me, or keto didn't work for me, or lifting weights didn't work for me. And it's like, but did you follow the right steps? Like
exactly.
Did you? Like, oh, I tried to learn an instrument. It didn't work for me on my own. I'm like, well, what did you do? Like, did you start from the basics and then, figure out what rhythm is and figure out what notes are and then
No, I tried to learn a song.
I tried to learn the Stairway to Heaven on my first try. And it didn't work out for some reason. It's the same thing. It's, you can't just go out and run, 5K if it's your first time running. Basics. You got to do your research and do it right. If you're going to do it right. And if you can't, for some reason, you don't have access to everything, especially when it comes to food, sometimes it's not always the easiest thing, but find out ways. If there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly.
You just got to make it happen one way or another. But gotta be informed first, know and have a plan. If you can't find a plan or make a plan, find someone out there that can help you, and then execute right. I also suggest really, really looking for someone that can help you, that can coach you through it and guide you and say, hey, if this is A, B, and C, this is, it's great that you keep doing A, B, and C, but you still got to get to Z, right?
Exactly.
End of that alphabet eventually, so that you can get the full effect. Otherwise, it's like, I see a lot, for me, the martial arts and fitness, a lot of people do really great in the beginning, and then they get their technique is really good, and then they lose weight and they look good, and then all of a sudden it's like that plateau hits. Right. Because it gets harder when you're just talking about, small percentages, when you're dropping 10, 5% here, left and right, or you're gaining all this knowledge all of a sudden, then, because you've covered so much ground, now there's so much less. And so those percentages, they're not as drastic or as fun,
That is a great way to look at it, to be honest with you, because like I said, I grew up in a pretty hardcore Christian home. So when I left, when I got out of the military is when I decided to leave my religion, and I started studying all these different other religions. But it's like, when I didn't know anything, I was learning so much just so quickly. It was like I could not stop learning. And then all of a sudden, it's like you cover so much ground, like what you were saying, like all these different religions and things. And all of a sudden, it's like you're not learning as quickly, because it's like, now you're studying the depth of things versus just, the very basic information. And honestly, that's kind of what happened with this stuff as well. Like I was very basic when I knew things, and then all of a sudden it's just like it started coming so freaking quickly. And then I've kind of plateaued as well. Like now I'm just, I'm getting, I follow a couple doctors on, or I subscribe to a couple doctors on YouTube. And so, I watch videos. I still learn. I still watch all these, different lectures and stuff. I enjoy that stuff. But as far as like learning new things, like I guarantee if someone were to listen to this video, I've given out so much information. It's almost kind of like too much in a way. But
this is great, man. I mean, people who don't have to listen or watch this whole thing all the way through. That's the wonderful thing about this, is that they can, stop and pick up wherever they want to leave off. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I do feel that, this stuff is just, it's fascinating stuff. So I know that this is where I'm supposed to be in life. I know that, I've had several sick family members who, they're not completely better, but they are definitely well on their way. And so I have so much faith in what plants can do. And I'm sorry if people don't like when I say this, but I absolutely have no faith in pharmaceuticals, none whatsoever. There's
a lot of money involved,
Exactly.
So when it comes to who was that one guy? I remember who bought several different drugs and like jacked up the price like 10 times.
Oh yeah, the insulin.
Yes, that was the one. It's funny because it's just like, well, man, like it just, even though it's not happening all the time with every single thing, it just shows how easy it is to manipulate a product for personal gain and financial gain, rather than the greater good of people just living a healthy life.
Exactly. Yeah, I actually do work with people with diabetes quite often, and so naturally their body's not able to break down sugars as well anymore. So they're obviously I'm not saying stop taking insulin, because obviously do what your doctor says, or do your own personal research and do what you feel. So at that point, but I have seen people go from doing quite a few shots of insulin a day down to doing maybe one or none, and it's using plant enzymes. So when you use plant enzymes, a full spectrum plant enzyme, it breaks down every food group. So it doesn't matter. Like I use an example with pudding, because pudding is such a processed food. It has literally everything in there. It's just absolute garbage. You can literally stick the thing upside down like this and hold it there and it won't come out. You can stir it for a day and it won't get any thinner. And it's just bad food. So I use an example of taking a plant enzyme and I just pour it in there. I put one capsule in there and I'll just stir it up for about 30 seconds to a minute. And within that amount of time, it has already broken it down so much that it turns it into what looks like chocolate milk. And then eventually, so what happens is it'll do that to every food group. So you can take a full Thanksgiving meal and, you'll have to use a couple more enzymes if you're eating a full Thanksgiving meal, but it breaks everything down. So what it's doing is it pre-digests your food. When it pre-digests your food, it's able to actually when it's going through everything, your body's able to pull all the hidden nutrients that your body would have never gotten if you had not taken an enzyme to begin with, because your body can only break something down to a certain point. And if it doesn't have the ability to do so, it's only like with proteins, like uric acid sort of thing. So if your body can't break it down, you're not getting the nutrients, period. Mm-hmm. So when you can break something down to a pre-digestible state, you can absorb everything out of that. So I use an example of, there was this guy a couple years ago, it was like 2 or 3 years ago. He was can't remember what high school he was at, but he was trying to put on a bunch of weight, and because he was a football player. Mm-hmm. And the coach has him on just this massive amount of intake of calories every single day, and he's not gaining any weight, because obviously in football you're slaying your body during. Yeah, exactly. So what was happening is he's just eating just completely uncomfortable all the time, and he's not putting on any weight. So he's dealing with the uncomfortableness and not any of the benefits of it. So what we did is we dropped his, or I gotta stop saying we, because it was not me. Okay. So
I love the honesty though.
absolutely. Yeah. No, like I said, I'm not in this for the money. Like, the money is nice. Don't get me wrong. Like, I absolutely love money. Everybody needs money, but I'm doing this because I care. Like, I'm a tree hugger from Oregon, man. My hometown has so many homeless people. I can't tell you how many times I've walked down the street and played my guitar with a homeless person. Literally, it's just like, I love people. People are just, you can't live without it, man. It's just like, you need that human connection. If you don't have that human connection, I mean, you get sociopaths, or sociopaths are already there, but I mean, you know, more likely. So it's like, you need that human connection. And so, being from the town I'm from, it is such a hippie town. Everyone is just so kind, and that's just what I love. I love being able to help people. I love being able to see people smile. It's just this joy that obviously every single act we do, period, is in selfish nature, because even if you're doing something kind, you're doing something kind because it's going to make you feel good.
Yeah.
So it's like, no matter what, like, we're being selfish in every act we do, but why not be selfish and making
Help
somebody
someone,
else? Yeah. Exactly. And that's kind of how I'm looking at this. So it's like, you know, I know I was going somewhere with the plants, but I heard.
Yeah. Well, I know. We'll bring it back to what happened with this football player.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. So what happened is they cut his calorie intake in half, and they just started making him take these plant enzymes. So what's happening then is your body is no longer at that point of like so full that it can't function. Like, it's constantly working to break food down, and so. When we put them on these, or when they put them on these enzymes, what happened is it broke all the food down to that pre-digestible state, and he was absorbing nutrients. So at that point in time, now he was actually starting to put on muscle because he was absorbing things instead of trying to digest it. So our body, the only way we can get anything to our body is through absorption. Like, we have to digest things in order to break it down to that absorbable state, or a liquid state. And so it's like, you know, whatever is not useful to us, it gets sent out in the waste department. So we absorb water, or we absorb liquid. So that's where we're getting our nutrients. We have to break things down to a point where we can actually absorb it. So it is, if an athlete is trying to put on weight, pull back on the calories and add a full spectrum plant enzyme into your diet. If you can do that, there is a huge chance that you're going to start seeing weight gain. The guy, I think he gained like 5 pounds in 1 week. So going from literally nothing, not being able to do anything, to 5 pounds in 1 week, just by dropping the amount you eat and then taking an enzyme that will break things down, you're giving your body what it needs.
So for people listening to this that are probably like having their minds blown, what are like some of the most accessible enzymes for people to go out and consume?
So the thing you have to be careful about with enzymes is, like, just like with everything, it's not all created equal. So marketers have their hands in everything. So the majority of the enzymes you're going to see on the market are actually enzymes from animal pancreas. So like that sounds gross. Like, you know, why am I taking something from an animal?
Animal guts.
This animal doesn't even eat the same stuff we do. Like, an animal, like, you look at a tiger or a lion, like, they eat raw meat. Like, they literally, they blood everywhere, but their digestive tract is so small that it doesn't have time to pick up any of that, the viruses or bacteria, which would be in that meat for being uncooked. It doesn't have the time to actually get into the body. So it just gets right out. That's why, as humans, I personally believe we are not supposed to eat meat. I still eat meat. I freaking love it. It's great, but
it's good, man.
It's not. It's horrible for the body. Literally horrible. So, like, if you were to try to eat raw meat, our digestive tract is so long that it would. If you ate raw meat, like, you're pretty much begging to have something actually happen. That's why we have, like, salmonella or other diseases that come from not having properly cooked food. Mm-hmm. So where was I going with that? We're talking about
enzymes,
enzymes.
accessible enzymes like on the market, whether I don't
Oh
know
yeah. Okay.
how
Yeah.
I don't know what's the most effective way to go ahead and do. I imagine obviously eating something rather than taking a pill.
Yeah. So obviously that's the beauty of it is like I tell everyone if you want to get healthy, your best bet is to go raw vegan. Like that is your absolute best bet. And some people can do that, some people can't. So
Right.
as right now, like I enjoy my foods. Like I'm not at a point in my life where I want to give up certain luxuries that I have because I mean typically, if someone doesn't have to do something or have to make a lifestyle change, most of the time people aren't going to do it. So that's where plant enzymes come into play because you're taking an enzyme that will break down your food, so it's not automatically saying to your pancreas, help me out. And so when you're not doing that, your pancreas is able to heal your body because it has all these enzymes. If we didn't have enzymes, if we had no enzymes in our body, we would die. Period. There is no doubt. Like enzymes are so important to our body, and obviously it's not all to break down food. Like I said, enzymes are for healing the body. Excuse me. So, like just I mean, we look at our saliva. Our saliva has amylase in it. This is able to start the breakdown process before it gets to our gut. So, like that's why they say to chew things 20 or 30 times so that the enzymes in your saliva will break that stuff down so it's actually pre-digested so that by the time you actually swallow it, you're already in that state of not needing to call on your pancreas. But most people, they like to eat really quickly. Like I'll chew things 5-10 times tops. And it's just, we like to, it's all about quickness. So
it's like instant gratification we were talking about earlier. It's like everything's so instant on demand, and I'm just like, yeah, this food tastes good. Let's hit that feeling again. Let's do it one more time. Okay, oh yeah, that's good. And then that's just like how we live our lives.
Yeah, and it becomes a habit, and so that's just an unfortunate thing because we don't realize the amount of stress we're putting on our body, because it's not immediate. We're
I feel fine now, so I can keep going until it gets really, really bad. Then I got to figure it out.
Exactly. And that's just that's the world we live in, where the majority of the people don't want to do anything to any precautionary steps because we enjoy our things. It's not. I'm not judging anybody. It is not wrong to enjoy these things. Like, man, I love meat. I eat meat daily. And it's horrible for my body, but I use an enzyme to help break it down so it's not so horrible for my body. And like I like fats. I like fried foods. So we have certain things that we can help our body if we're still choosing to do certain things. So like just in general, CBD, absolutely amazing for the body in general. There's not like you could literally think of just about any symptom or issue that you can think of and type in CBD after that. And you're going to find something on it. Like there's really nothing CBD can't help for. So like I said, it keeps your body in homeostasis. So it naturally, that's how I got into CBD, was because it works with the digestive tract. And I started in enzymes. So it's like plants, they work. There's just nothing bad about it in its raw state. So,
all right. I think right there is a good place to wrap things up. We got a nice, almost 3 hours, or I don't know how much we talked before, but it's at least probably like 2.5 easy for the full recording. But man, this is a good talk. I'd love to, have you come on again at some point. And especially,
I enjoyed this.
As things develop both in CBD and just health in general, I'm sure there's always gonna be something new. And so, I'd love to have you come back and just throw some updates at people. And even if we revisit some of the things, and who knows what could happen in the news as far as medicine and health and just, wellness in general, there's always something going on, which is super awesome. Hopefully everyone's learning a little bit. I hope everyone learned a lot, because there's a lot of information here. Even if you gotta watch it twice, guys, like go skim through this, go watch the whole thing, and then try and pick out different parts. There's a lot of good stuff. we went through here.
Yeah, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out as well. Like I'm sure my information will probably be on that video somewhere, or on the link somewhere in there. So
yes, sir. Yeah, we'll get all your stuff in here.
Perfect. Yeah. Just even if it doesn't deal with products, if it's just like an idea of something that's wrong with your body or something that you're dealing with, like I see so many issues. So it's like, just hit me up.
Hit his line, guys. Thank you, folks, for watching this one. I'm going to end the recording here. Thank you, sir, for coming on. And then we'll chat a little bit and do all the wrapped up stuff so we can get all your information for everyone consuming and watching and listening. All right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, once again, thank you very much for having me. I definitely enjoyed this, and I look forward to, if you have me back, that would be awesome.
Heck yeah, man. Alrighty, folks. Until next time, thank you so much. And that is the episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, folks. Please, if you're enjoying this, you can actually donate to the show as little as 99 cents per month, up to, I think the maximum is $9.99. So anywhere from basically $1 to $10 a month. Come on, guys, that's cheaper than OnlyFans, right? If you want more content like this, if you want hopefully better video quality, I'm so glad I get to bring videos to you through Zoom now. Zoom is not a sponsor, just something that I've used to just help put out more content and get more conversations out there. So please, guys, please tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your grandma, and your grandma's cousins and your cousins and their friends about this show, so we can keep this going and keep some interesting and hopefully useful, inspirational, motivational, whatever you guys need in your life, things to keep it going. I appreciate you for taking the time. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you want to hear and what kind of guests you want to see on the show. I thank you so much. Thank you, and bye-bye.